What happens when hope turns to humiliation? When two world-class drivers realize the dream they were sold might already be falling apart. Under the glowing lights of Singapore, Ferrari's weekend promised redemption. Instead, it exposed every weakness, every crack, and every ghost that has haunted the team for years. This isn't just another race weekend gone wrong. This is the story of how Ferrari's future fell apart in front of millions, and why Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc reached their emotional breaking points. Friday in Singapore felt different. The tension, the heat, the humidity, it all carried the weight of expectation. Ferrari arrived believing this was their moment. The data from Monza had shown progress. The upgrades looked promising, and the drivers, for once, felt the balance was right. Lewis Hamilton, confident and composed, told the press he felt in rhythm. He believed the car had front-row potential. Beside him, Charles Leclerc echoed the optimism, saying, "If we get everything right, we can fight the top teams." After months of frustration, Ferrari's garage buzzed with hope. The Tifosi, watching from around the world, dared to believe. Maybe, just maybe, this was the weekend when talk would finally turn into triumph. But Formula One is cruel, and under the lights of Marina Bay, optimism can vanish faster than tire grip on a humid night. Saturday arrived with pressure thick in the air. The heat radiated from the tarmac. The walls loomed close, and precision mattered more than ever. Ferrari entered qualifying knowing every decision would define the weekend. Yet, in the moments that mattered most, they faltered. Hamilton sat in the pit lane, his car silent, engine off, tires cooling, grip fading, seconds ticking away. In Singapore, tire temperature isn't just important, it's everything. Lose it, and you lose the lap before it even begins. But somehow, Ferrari got it wrong. By the time they released Hamilton, his rhythm was gone. The perfect window for performance had passed. He crossed the line for his final run, pushing, fighting, wrestling the SF25 through every corner. But it wasn't enough. Sixth place. Over the radio came a voice sharp with disbelief. Hamilton didn't shout. He didn't need to. His tone said it all. At Mercedes, this would never happen. That one sentence cut through Ferrari like a blade. It wasn't anger, it was disappointment. And disappointment, from a seven-time world champion, is far more devastating than rage. Across the garage, Charles Leclerc was living his own nightmare. His car, once so balanced in FP1, had turned into a beast he could barely control. The rear end danced unpredictably. The steering felt heavy and unstable, and every lap felt like a fight for survival. As he crossed the line, his frustration exploded over the radio. So bad, so bad. Then came the moment that defined the night. A single punch to the steering wheel, a flash of emotion, raw and unfiltered. For Leclerc, it wasn't just about qualifying seventh. It was about yet another weekend where his effort, his skill, his belief were betrayed by a team that just couldn't get the basics right. When Hamilton and Leclerc stepped out of their cars, their faces told the story. No words, no excuses, just silence heavy with defeat. Sixth and seventh on the grid. At Marina Bay, where overtaking is nearly impossible, that's not just disappointing, it's disastrous. What makes this fall from grace even more painful is that Ferrari actually had the pace to fight at the front. The data from Friday proved it. Both drivers were fast, consistent, confident. But then came a single decision that changed everything. Engineers noticed excessive plank wear, essentially the car running too close to the ground. Fearing a penalty, Ferrari raised the ride height. That small adjustment completely altered the car's behavior. The once stable SF25 turned unpredictable. Balance gone, Rear grip lost. From that moment on, the drivers were chasing a ghost. Leclerc said afterward, "The feeling I usually have on street circuits, it disappeared. Every corner, every braking zone felt uncertain." Ferrari, trying to protect themselves from a technical infraction, had unknowingly sabotaged their own performance. For Hamilton, the pain wasn't about setup. It was about execution. He trusted the team to deliver the fundamentals, the basics that separate good teams from great ones. But in Singapore, Ferrari forgot the fundamentals entirely. Sitting at the end of the pit lane, engine off, tires cooling, that's not strategy. That's negligence. At Mercedes, he said, the engineers understood every nuance of timing, every fraction of a second that mattered. They made decisions with precision. At Ferrari, mistakes feel random, chaotic, almost inevitable. Team principal Fred Vasseur tried to explain after qualifying, claiming Ferrari missed track evolution. But everyone in the paddock knew that wasn't the real issue. This wasn't about track evolution. It was about a team that didn't execute when it mattered. For Hamilton, watching his former team, Mercedes, secure pole with George Russell while he sat sixth was humiliation. He didn't need to say it out loud. The look on his face said enough. This isn't what I signed up for. The reactions were brutal. Fans flooded social media, furious. The Tifosi, known for their passion and loyalty, demanded answers. How could a team with Ferrari's resources, with two world-class drivers, keep making the same mistakes year after year? One fan wrote, "Ferrari doesn't lose to others. They lose to themselves." And maybe that's the harsh truth. Inside the paddock, whispers began to spread. Mechanics looked deflated. Engineers avoided eye contact. The body language said it all. This wasn't just a bad day. It was a collapse. Both drivers, though united in frustration, felt it differently. For Leclerc, it was another wound in a career full of near misses. For Hamilton, it was a painful reminder that even legends can make the wrong move. When you strip away the emotion, the reality is even harsher. Ferrari didn't just lose a qualifying session. They lost credibility. Singapore was supposed to be the statement weekend, the race that showed the world Ferrari was back. Instead, it became the clearest proof that the old ghosts still haunt Maranello. Operational chaos, indecision, slow reactions, lack of confidence. It's the same cycle, repeating again and again. Hamilton's move to Ferrari was supposed to symbolize rebirth. Now, it's starting to look like regret. Meanwhile, at Mercedes, George Russell celebrated pole. The team that Ferrari thought they had finally surpassed was back on top, executing flawlessly under pressure. The contrast couldn't have been more damning. After qualifying, Hamilton sat with his engineers, staring at the data. He didn't yell. He didn't throw anything. He just shook his head. The disappointment was deeper than anger. It was realization. He told the press, "I gave everything." But the car just wouldn't respond. Leclerc, too, seemed broken. Asked about his emotions after the session, he simply said, "I don't know what to feel anymore." For both drivers, this wasn't just a bad night. It was a moment of truth. Because when the fundamentals of trust start to break between a driver and a team, recovery becomes almost impossible. As the lights went out on Sunday, the race itself was a formality. Ferrari's chances were gone before the first lap. 6th and 7th meant spending the evening staring at the exhaust. Pipes of faster cars. Every overtake attempt died in the narrow confines of Marina Bay. Every lap was a reminder of what could have been. The race ended as predictably. As it began, Hamilton in 6th, Leclerc in 7th. And while the points looked acceptable on paper, the truth was devastating. Ferrari, once the symbol of Formula One excellence, looked lost. Hamilton walked away from the garage, head down, silence following him. Leclerc, too, left without a word. For a team that once defined greatness, it felt like the end of something far larger than a weekend. The questions now hang over Maranello like a storm. Can Ferrari fix their fundamental issues before they waste another season? Will Hamilton's patience hold if this continues? And how many more heartbreaks can Leclerc endure before his loyalty finally breaks? The paddock is watching, rivals are smiling, and Ferrari, once again, are searching for answers that seem to slip through their fingers every year. Singapore 2025 wasn't just another race. It was a mirror, a reflection of everything Ferrari have become. Brilliant, passionate, chaotic, and broken. Hamilton compared Ferrari to Mercedes, not to insult, but to expose the truth. One team built on order, the other trapped in confusion. For now, the red cars roll on, their legacy heavy on their shoulders. But if change doesn't come soon, the greatest name in Formula One might keep writing new chapters in a story no fan wants to read. Singapore was supposed to be Ferrari's comeback, but it became their collapse. Two star drivers, one legendary team, and a weekend that turned into heartbreak. If you want to see where Ferrari goes from here, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, can this team rise again, or has the fall already begun?